welcome to episode, I think this is number 6 now, of the Benchwarmers Perspective. Today I have Steve Erny, Fruitport head basketball coach. What else do you do over there with the Trojans?
Yeah, I work at the high school as one of our graduation advocates. I was an English teacher for several years, and now I get to work kind of in a different role, different capacity here at the school. But I'm here at the school all day, and then now about to be a few hours longer every day as practice is just around the corner. So we're excited.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you got into basketball, how you got the job there, and kind of your involvement with Fruitport over the last couple of years.
Yeah, sure. This will be my 9th year as the head coach, and I was just thinking about that this off season, how that's kind of crazy to me. When I got the job back in, it was 2016, 2017 season. We had just moved, my wife and I had just moved back up to Michigan. I'm from Fruitport. I went to Fruitport, and we just had our first child, 2015. So we moved back up here, and about a year and a half, 2 years later, I was able to get hired as the boys coach here at Fruitport. And then a year after that, I got hired on staff at the high school. So it's been almost a decade, which is, like I said, it's kind of wild to me, but time's kind of flying by, and still love what I'm doing, and I view it as financially it's more of a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
but it's, to me, it's more of it's a passion. So it's just to be able to be in the community I grew up in, to be someone who's trying to positively impact kids at Fruitport especially, and now I have 4 young children of my own, and as they're starting to get into sports, it's just exciting to be a part of this. I think we've grown a lot in the last 9 years, have some ups and downs, but feels like we're heading in a good direction. And so for me, I'm grateful for that, and happy to still be a part of it and be at the helm, so to speak.
Yeah. So 9 years at the helm of Fruitport basketball. Tell me a little bit about those 9 seasons. What those have looked like. Some of the wins, some of the not so great parts of a couple of those seasons. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, the first few years were kind of a slow build. I think we had a really solid year in 2019 and 2020. That was the year that the district tournament was shut down from COVID, and we were about to play in the district championship game that the day before everything, the world stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was such a fun experience, because that was kind of since I've been here, we've been in the OK conference, and when you're in the OK conference, every 4 years there's realignment. So first few years we were in the OK Black. We had local schools like Reese Puffer, Mona Shores, Muskegon, Grand Rapids schools, big schools. We were one of the smaller schools in our division. So always just very much hyper competitive division. Then we moved to the OK Blue, which back then was Spring Lake, Hudsonville Unity Christian, Holland Christian. Again, really, really tough basketball schools. And then just last year we moved to the OK Silver, and so it's been another whole other kind of group of teams and challenges. But the journey for the past 9 years, I mean, really after the COVID year, there was a lot of rebuilding going on. I knew we had a lot of good young players in the middle school and upper elementary at the time, and some of those kids are now on our high school team, and we're a part of our really successful in a lot of ways season last year, winning a conference championship for the first time in program history. And we've made 3 district championship game runs where we've had to win two games in districts to get to that final game, and we've fallen short all 3 times. In really every game has been very competitive, and so we've had opportunities to to continue to play in the tournament. Last year our ending was certainly disappointing to kind of be one and done there, but that happens in tournament play. At any given time you could be out, and we played a really good senior-led Oak Ridge team last year in the district finals, and they played really well and knocked us out. So we're looking, to have we have high expectations this year. We've got a lot of our guys back from last year, and we're looking forward to the challenges ahead.
Yeah, I know that district that you guys are in. I coached with Montague, as I think you probably know.
Yep.
And they that district it seems like it's just stacked every year. You could go almost any of those games could go any way. And like it's a question mark. I think it's one of those question mark districts. It just depends. I think of last year when Spring Lake upset Whitehall. I mean, some people would call that an upset, and made it to the district final, right? And
they
it's
won
just,
it last year.
yeah, it's a huge game, or a huge question mark every time you go into the end of the season, the postseason. If you can make it out of districts, though, the next even bigger question mark is who are you going to play in that first round of regionals? And I think that's where a lot of the teams in the district right now in that district have struggled. Is they get out of they might win the district, but then they get to the regional and they're playing some Grand Rapids school that's 3 times the size, and it's just hard to compete. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the district and possible realignment with some of those schools? I know that some of the schools were talking about falling a division just because of smaller class or overall school size. I think Montague was one of those. What are kind of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this might be one of the last years where this district, which really has remained unchanged for many years, who knows what the future holds for the smaller schools or even realignment classes. Our basketball association in Michigan there's always been discussions of, adding classes or, what those cutoffs are. So every year when you're in the district with teams like Montague, Oak Ridge, Orchard View, Spring Lake, Whitehall, the cool thing about that district is it's very local. It's kind of everybody's within 20 minutes of each other basically, and there's some natural rivalries there, and I think there's been rivalries that have been built up because of you're always going to face those guys in the state tournament. So I think to me that's been the most fun part about that. The district is, in my years, I mean, I think we've had Orchard View's won, Spring Lake's won a bunch, Whitehall's won. I think Oak Ridge won one year early in my time, and I don't know, has Montague won the last 8-9 years?
I'm trying to think.
I know they've won in the past.
I know,
but
since 2017. They didn't win when I was in high school. I know that. In which I got in high school in 2018. So
yeah. So I think
I don't think the year before that they did either. I know that we've made a couple district final appearances, but have not gotten the job done. I know when I was a senior, we made it to the final, which was 22, and got blown out by Whitehall. I think that was Cam's freshman or sophomore year.
That's right. I remember that year. Yeah, you guys had a nice run there to the finals, and then Cam, I think it was his sophomore year. I think they won his freshman year. So that was the year Whitehall won, and was his freshman year. And then, but anyway, it's a district that seems like it could go either way. I mean, Spring Lake, I think I'm not looking at the historical records here, but I know that they've really, in the last many years, they've been perennially a favorite and have come through. And so being one of being our biggest rival, really, that's always exciting to know, like, hey, we might see these guys in the district tournament again. We always try to play them, at least since we're not in their division now. We'll, as long as we can control it, we'll always schedule them in the non-conference and have that community rivalry game. But yeah, the district's fun because, like I said, there's a lot of natural rivals, a lot of competitive teams. And, you were talking about when you go to the regional, but the thing about it is, I mean, really, once you get to the regional level, I mean, no matter who you play, it's going to be
Yeah,
someone
that's true.
who's tough. So like, whether you win that first game or lose the second game, or, I think state tournament basketball, there's nothing more fun than to watch those and be a part of those competitive, just electric atmospheres. And, I coached high school basketball in Indiana for 5 years, and they call it Hoosier Hysteria down there. And it's like,
Yeah.
March Madness is there's a lot of pride down there with what high school basketball is for Indiana. But I feel like, being up in Michigan, we've experienced some of those really fun, intense moments. And it's one of the reasons why you keep wanting to put in the work and all the long hours. And it's for those opportunities to do something for your community that really hasn't been done in a long time,
Yeah.
especially here at Fruitport.
Yeah. So one thing you mentioned was the realignment of the conference for Fruitport or the OK conference in general every 4 years. How does that shift game planning? How does that shift, season schedules as you switch conferences like that? I mean, you said you switched twice since you've been there, at least, if not more. And how has that helped? How has that hurt? How is that? Just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it certainly keeps you on your toes. I mean, we've had some repeat people in our divisions, but really the OK Silver was entirely new for us last year, and so there's just, it was a whole new set of teams to prepare for. A lot of times, if you're playing teams 3-4 years in a row and they have the same coaches, you kind of have a feel for what they're going to bring to the table. And actually, this year in our division in the OK Silver, there's, I think, out of the 8 teams, I'm pretty sure there's probably 5 new coaches. So there's a lot of turnover in that regard this year too. So in a lot of ways, it'll feel like new, to continue to be new. And every coach brings his or her own kind of stamp on the programs. And so, it makes it a challenge. Like we spend a lot of time in scouting. We've got a really good staff, and we actually kind of ramped that up last year. And I think our guys liked it, to really just lean into having some pretty detailed scouts for our opponents. And the kids, I think, absorbed the information well, and it helped us, especially in conference, to kind of get a feel for those teams that were new to us. So we'll do the same thing this year. But the constant turnover is tough. I mean, I know, like Montague, you guys are part of the West Michigan Conference, and that's been pretty stable for a long, long time. And so you get those natural rivalries that you get to play twice a year, right?
Yeah.
And so there's something, I think, really good about that. So I think a negative, in my opinion, for the OK conference would be, when you're a part of that, things get shaken up, every few years, and it's also a conference that's like really 50 plus or 40 plus teams, right? So, but there's divisions. So, but on the flip side, it's been, I think, really, it's forced us to really raise our game, our expectations over the past, 10, 12 years we've been in the OK conference, because we know, the competition day in and day out is pretty top tier around West Michigan. And so there are years that are harder than others. There's years where you just know the talent we're bringing to the court is less than, but I think this year we have a lot of, we have high expectations, and I think we're excited for what we can do.
Yeah. So talking about this year, what's the outlook for you guys? I know you guys had one, I don't know if you guys even had any seniors graduate. Tell me a little bit about the last season to this. I know last year you guys won a conference title. To this season, what's going to change? What's going to be, standard for you guys, and what's going to look like this year?
Well, we lost a few seniors on our team, and one starter, Grady Onspaw, was a senior last year, and he was a 3-year player for us. He was our point guard, and he's leaving certainly has left a gap of time, or a gap of leadership and skill, and sort of just his IQ was off the charts. So we also had a few other guys that were seniors that were in our rotation that brought our senior class last year. We won the conference championship for the first time in our program history. And those seniors were I loved them all. Absolutely. Not just because we were successful, but because they each high character guys. So now we kind of have this new group of seniors. And yet we're returning a lot of players because we were pretty young last year outside of those seniors. I mean, we started a freshman, a sophomore, 2 juniors, and then we had a sophomore come off the bench, play big minutes. So, I mean, now, so basically the key returners are Day Williams, who's a senior. And I had a couple coaches this year ask me, is Day finally a senior? Because he's been a part of he's been a pretty, a well-known name around West Michigan basketball since he was a freshman. And so he's a senior. He's been working really hard. He's geared up for a great year. We have another senior who started for us all year last year, Trevor Rusnick, kind of a forward type player. And then we have 2 other starters that are back, or Hudson Hazekamp, who's a junior this year, was all conference. And he's grown a couple inches, I think. And he's stronger.
A couple inches, he was already pretty tall.
Yeah, I think he's up to 6'5" now, and he's just strong, and he was an all-state soccer player this fall, and and just a real great kid, good athlete, but through his experience he's a 3-sport athlete, baseball and soccer and basketball, and through I think his multi-sport experience has really grown as a confident leader, and that's what we'll rely on him for this year. But he's only a junior still, but this will be his 3rd year on varsity because he was on with us as a freshman. And then Dexter Lilmar, our sophomore, was our leading scorer last year as a freshman, all conference. I think one of the best players in West Michigan, really.
He's a guy you as a opposing coach, you game plan around. That's the guy to watch out for.
Yep, and he's worked his tail off. I mean, he spent so much time improving his skill and his game and his body. I mean, I just came from conditioning, and we had tons of guys in there running and working in the weight room. And some of these dudes, you can just see when they're out in the court running, like they just look different. And Dexter's one of those dudes. And so I think we expect a big leap even from what he did last year as a freshman to this year as a sophomore. And then Brady Hansen was a sophomore last year. He ended most of our games on the floor last year, even though he didn't start. Quarterback of our football team, just a leader in so many ways. And I'm excited to see his role expand. And I think he'll bring a lot of that, we'll have a lot of guys around him who might be, some of the most talented kids around. And Brady's going to be a guy that's going to be that tough, hard-nosed, just smart player who will do his role really well. But, basically a 6th starter for us last year, and he's back this year, and he's only a junior. So those are just a handful of our returners. But we've got some other guys coming back that are hoping to make the jump from maybe not getting as much playing time to earning playing time this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition for like the rotation minutes this year, which is always a good thing, especially from a coach's perspective.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've got some newcomers this year. We haven't had tryouts yet, but it's pretty well established. We're confident in an incoming freshman to be a big impact player for us. Garrett Olson, who's 6'5", left-handed, can play inside and outside, just plays high-level AAU, and is just a really good athlete, a great kid. He's going to come in right away and compete for time and just be, I think, a really good piece to the puzzle for us this year. And then another senior who didn't play last year, but he's had a great summer for us, was David Johnson Jimenez, and he's like 6'3", 6'4", but just strong, does all the dirty work. That kind of player as a coach, as you know, Connor, that the guys that you just love because they'll set all the screens, they'll get all the rebounds, they're going to do what you ask them to do. And David's one of those kids. So I think I just listed like 7 kids, but there's more.
It's fine.
But I mean, we're excited for the roster. We're especially excited for seeing how the team comes together this first week of practice. And these first couple of weeks are always so exciting. It's kind of like the honeymoon phase a little bit, but we have a pretty tough non-conference schedule to start. So, the sense of urgency right from the jump, right from tryout day number one, might feel a little bit different on the floor this year. So that, which is a good thing. You want to get ready as quick as you can, and no matter win or lose in these non-conference games, you want to just continue to get that trajectory where you guys are, where we're competing for a conference championship and playing our best basketball in the end of February, early March.
Yeah. So I got a couple questions off that.
Yep.
The first is, I feel like every year you guys got a new stud freshman coming in. How, as a coach, I don't think that's always coincidental. But how, as a coach, do you prepare or create a program where you always have a possibility of a guy coming in like that?
Well, I mean, to deflect any of the, well, I'll get back to the program thing, which I am proud of. I mean, we've put a lot of time into building our youth program, and we do invest a lot of hours into that. But I mean, like Garrett this year is 6'5", hyper athletic, super self-driven, has been working his tail off in athletics for many, many years, doing high level stuff. That to me is something it's a gratitude thing for us.
Yeah.
But I also think kids like that, they also know, like, in today's climate of athletes and schools and everything like that, like, you want to be a program that they want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And Garrett's been a Fruitport kid since he was in kindergarten, and his dad is an all-time leading scorer here at Fruitport. His mom teaches at Fruitport. But even in that situation, if families sometimes feel like your kids or the schools doesn't have something going on, things can change, and that's just an example of, it is helpful to feel like things are going in a good direction for these high level, very high achieving players. I mean, last year Dexter Lilmars, we were fortunate enough for him to transfer to Fruitport in middle school, and I've known Dexter since he was a little kid. But I mean, just for the trust to be put into Fruitport in baseball, basketball, other sports, and also academics, and to have our school, which, not to just plug Fruitport all podcast, but there's a lot of really good things going on here. Bond issues are passing, money's coming into the schools, had a new high school built just 5 years ago. I just love our leadership that we have in our community, in our school district. And I think that the numbers show that it's one of the biggest growing districts around. And there's that means that we're growing it in numbers as well, but also allows for more opportunities for kids to come in and participate in athletics. And so Dexter was one of those kids for us. And then Hudson Hayskamp was a freshman 3 years ago. And again, like, awesome kid, good athlete. And then Day was a freshman the year before that. So we have this year is kind of a year that I looked at a couple of years ago to say, this might be a year where we're going to have a senior, a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman. And all of those guys were also varsity players as freshmen. So very highly talented, but it also comes with challenges for them, and it comes with challenges for others. And I wouldn't want to have a freshman on the varsity team if he's going to, not play a lot, or, you want to get those kids to develop. But if they can help the team and help the team win right away, I mean, all those guys were really no-brainers. And so we're very fortunate, very grateful for having some of these talented kids come through. But I think what's happened too is I think there's been other kids who have some talent, who might not be maybe as physically gifted as some of those other guys, but they see now these guys that they might be playing with for the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Yep.
And I've really noticed a big increase in guys who are putting in the time in the off season, going and doing, training and playing AAU basketball, and just, it's compared to what it was like 6, 7 years ago here. It's through the roof. And so that gets me excited. And a lot of that is due to, when the kids there's like a kind of a culture shift when the kids see other kids. Well, what's Dexter doing? What's he doing in the off season? Like, where's he going? How is he so good? And they find out where he's going and what he's doing and what training he's doing, and they follow. And so that's happening right now, and it's good.
I think you answered my question there. Is you've created a culture of guys who just want to work hard and just want to, and some of those guys may be super athletically gifted and some of those guys aren't, but they all want to be better than the other one in a way, where they're going to follow the guy who's the best, I guess you could say. And I might not be explaining that very well, but for
No, you're
example,
right.
you said Day might be going and playing AAU, right? And I might not be the best, most as athletically gifted as Day, but I want to be just as good as him. And so I go and I put in the extra time. I go try to play AAU, to be able to get better. And I think that's how you keep turning out these super gifted basketball players, and these super just high skill ceiling guys that I've seen you guys turn out for the last 3-4 years. Just over and over again, it seems like it makes you guys hard to game plan for. I'll tell you that much. When you got 4 guys on the floor that have all started and played as freshmen, you got to watch out for every position.
Yeah, it helps when you have 3-4 guys on the floor, sometimes 5 guys on the floor that all can do a lot of different things. And we play against teams like that all the time too. So it's like, if it's not just 1 or 2, it's a real benefit to what we get to try to do.
Yeah.
And then the thing that is most important really is you have all the talent you want, but can you come together? Can you find ways to sacrifice maybe some of your individual, there's only one ball, right? So
Yeah.
Can you sacrifice for each other and for the team? And the thing I like about our group this year is not that every year's not like this, but I think this year in particular, there's a real desire and focus, even from our preseason conditioning sessions, where it's like our best players are leading the way and they want to win so badly that they're going to suffer through the sprints. They're going to hit the weight room. They're doing things right now. We start officially on Wednesday, but we're doing conditioning. You can't do ball stuff, but you can do conditioning. And so for the past 2 weeks, we've had conditioning sessions, and we've had great turnout, better than really ever before. So that gets me jacked up because as a coach, as you know, like there's almost nothing more energizing for you as a coach than to see a bunch of kids in the gym just working hard and trying to get better. And it
100%.
makes your job easier. It makes your job more fun. And there's going to be tons of challenges this year. There's going to be bumps in the road. Basketball season's like 3.5 months long minimum.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild, it's winter time. It's everybody.
You could have games canceled. They can move.
Yeah, there's
it can get crazy.
Sickness and it's just so many things but if we can stay, on the straight path towards our goals, no matter what happens, I think we can leave. Hopefully I'm talking to you at the end of this season and we can, refer back to some of this, and I know, every program's in a similar boat right now. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of like, this year is going to be a year we're doing these things better or this differently. So we're just like that with everybody else. Now it's going to be about kind of stepping up and doing it.
Yeah. So kind of looking around at the conference and in the area in general, what are some teams that when you're thinking about the early season that you're kind of going to have to watch out for that you're looking at early, like a Muskegon or a Reese Puffer or a Mona Shores, I should say. What teams are you kind of looking out for around the area?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm kind of paying attention just to the teams that we're playing on our schedule, but I mean, I'm sure Muskegon's going to be. We don't have them on our schedule this year, but they're going to be one of the top teams in the area. I mean, I saw them in the fall ball league that we participated in, and Coach Guy's always got a team with high expectations. We do have Mona Shores on our schedule this year. We scrimmage Reese Puffer. So some of the bigger schools in Muskegon area, we play Shores. I think it's our 3rd game of the year. It's at home. I'm sure it'll be an exciting environment. Two schools that really, I'm glad that we were able to get each other back on the schedule and get that going again. We were in the same conference for 4 years and we're able to win some of those games and lost some of them as well. So I know they're have a really good new coach TJ Meerman, and so there's going to be just a lot of excitement with their program, I'm sure, and then with us as well. So that's a kind of a team that I'm looking at already, just because we know that we're going to see them early. I just think Spring Lake lost a decent amount last year, but as far as I'm concerned, they're always going to be one of those
Always a
teams
threat.
that just always one of those teams that you just gotta
Yeah.
you gotta really like, what do we need to do to beat Spring Lake? And so, we were able to beat them in the regular season last year for the first time in a long time, but we would like nothing more than to make it 2 in a row. And then so they're a team that we're looking at. I mean, yeah, as far as other area teams, I mean, in the West Michigan Conference, maybe you might have more like thoughts on this, but I feel like kind of like things are sort of up in the air a little bit. I think Ludington's supposed to be really good, and Whitehall's going to be
Right now
solid. But I mean,
it's hard to tell early season because you don't know quite. Some of these teams you just don't know what they have, and I think one of those teams is Orchard View. They kind of came into the to the scene last year, and
yeah,
they didn't win as many games as everybody else, but they were a threat. I mean, like
yeah,
they could come out any night, and they the culture they have theirs. They're going to come out and kind of punch you in the face and
right,
and try and get you to and play hard defense, hard nosed defense, and just be active all the time. And I think just like their football program went from 0-9 a couple of years ago to now that they were 5-4 this year and on the cusp of making the playoffs, I think their basketball team is going to be in the same
mm,
situation. They're a team to watch out for. Ludington is it's gonna be hard to beat Ludington this year. They're gonna be good. They got Gunsel coming back. They've got Taj Williams, who he was a 4 years. I know he flexed on as a freshman, playing a little bit of JV, a little bit of varsity because he wasn't getting a ton of minutes on varsity, but he's a baller. I actually, ironically, I played him. I played in the West Shore League up in Ludington and at the West Shore Community College up there, and I played against him, and he's a tough guard. And they've got a couple other guys that to worry about there. Whitehall has a huge question mark this year. How good are they gonna be without Cam? Now I don't really know, because a lot of the guys that they'll have playing this year are either going to be I think they got 2 returners, and outside of that, you don't really know what's coming from the JV. I know they got a couple guys, but
mm,
you don't know how they're going to react coming from JV to varsity. They could be 2 totally different players between the two. And then outside of that, Oak Ridge I think will be okay. I think they'll be pretty good. TJ does a great, Tracy does a great job over
right,
there. Outside of that, North Muskegon in the Rivers, Dugner's back. They did lose a couple pieces, but they're still going to be good. I mean, Dugner's. Yeah, I mean, I watched him drop 40
yeah,
a couple of times last year, so he's an excellent ball player. Could see them making a run in the playoffs again, but yeah, Hart's a big. I think it's gonna be good. They were younger than you guys were last year.
yeah.
Like they had a
We
couple.
saw
I
them
know
this
they had
summer
a
a little bit.
couple. They had a couple sophomores last year starting, a couple juniors starting, even a couple freshmen that were starting
Yep.
or getting a good chunk of minutes. So, yeah, the area. I think it's gonna be a fun year of basketball. I'm excited. One of my favorite things to do is game plan. I love game plan. I love getting into the nitty gritty of especially defensively. Like, what's this guy? Does he not like his left hand? Does he not?
Mm,
What does he prioritize? Is he going to settle for a jumper? Things like that. Because that's how I was as a player. That's how I am as a player. Is I want to always know how can I exploit a guy's weakness. And so that's how. I love just figuring that out as we go down the season. And so as we get, it seems like it's going to be a fun season for that. Just getting into the nitty gritty of each team and who I got to worry about and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a fun year.
for sure.
The district is going to be a big question mark, bigger than normal this year. I think anybody could win that district. The that have I know Whitehall has won at least once in the last 4 years, but made an appearance in all of them. Spring Lakes
Mhm.
won. So I think anybody could take that this year. It's
Yep.
pretty up in the air.
Spring Lake's won the last 3, so they're on top. It got everybody else chasing them, but yeah, it's you're right. It's kind of fun. It's fun when there's talented kids in West Michigan, like on the lakeshore, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and I think that we're going to have another year where that's going to be the case this year. So Yeah, I'm a fan too. And so, sometimes we're in the thick of it, we get tunnel vision, but, it is fun to see like upsets. It's fun to see, teams that maybe were, like you said, Orchard View, like are kind of like slowly been building. And this year might be a year where they take another leap. And I just think that's exciting because from a coach's perspective, knowing what coaches pour into teams and programs, you're happy for those people and for those kids when they can have those breakthrough moments. So that's just the truth.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Look forward to this season. I don't know when we play you guys. Usually it's pretty early, but we'll see this year. Excited to get after it. Good luck.
Thanks.
It's going to be exciting to watch you guys, and I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, we play you guys like in the middle of it's like middle of January, so it's a little bit later this year.
Usually it's like the first two games.
Yeah, like it got moved to the middle of between the two conference. When our conference turns over, we're playing you guys in our in between. I was kind of looking forward to playing in the new gym, but you're gonna come to us this year. So, but I think the districts are at your place, right?
Probably. I know that we've shifted. I know we had volleyball districts there. Got a couple different district tournaments in that gym. I think girls and boys are both at Montague, if I'm not mistaken, for this year.
That's exciting. I'm sure
it's sweet.
I've in that place.
I've played in there a couple of times, coached in there a couple of times. It definitely is massive. Like it is huge. It'll be fun when it's packed. It won't be as loud. One thing I love about actually North Muskegon's gym is that it's that tiny little like I don't even know how old it is, and it's got that wood roof, the ceiling,
like an old barn.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite gyms to be in a big game. I remember playing there. I was a freshman and we had gotten our JV game, or sophomore, and we got our JV game done and watching some of my teammates who had gotten pulled up watching them play in that North Muskegon gym, and it is so loud, and it's an awesome environment to be in. And so our new one won't be as loud, but just because there's a lot more space, but it'll be, when that thing gets packed, it'll be fun. You fit a lot more. Go ahead.
I can imagine that in the district tournament, especially, there'll be some games, some nights where people are lining up along that track above the bleachers and just making that place loud. But yeah, anything new is still exciting, and it was beautiful. I was there for the volleyball districts, watching Fruitport volleyball win the district the other day, and so it's the first time I was in there. So pretty cool for Montague, and we look forward to. That'll be at the end of the season for us, but we look forward to being there.
Yeah, it's definitely it brings a whole new level of just having space to play and train and things like that, because now you have two gyms, because we have our old one where you could only fit there's 6 baskets, and each of those half courts they don't have 3-point lines, things like that, and they were quite a bit smaller, and you got 5-6 teams to try and fit in there over the next couple of months. And now when you got 2 gyms and one of those gyms has 2 full courts sideways in them, it makes it so much easier to just have practice, things like that, because now you can run sets on both sides, because you got the 3-point line. You can play when you scrimmage, you can play 5-on-5 with 1s and 2s instead of just 1s, right? Help get the spacing a little bit better, things like that. But yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm excited to get in there, be able to coach in there, things like that. So yeah, well, again, I appreciate you coming on. Excited to see what you guys do this season, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate your time and all you guys are doing for spreading just kind of awareness and excitement about our local sports. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck this season.
All right, you too.